Well, I'll be. There is a lot more variety than I expected. From what I've heard, they all taste completely different too. Apparently, it's the large variety that's made the store so famous. With Ephil leading the way, the three of us had entered the shop in question. It turned out to be a full-sized cafe that, aside from selling pastries, was also running a dessert buffet. The three of us were currently seated at one of the tables in the store's outdoor space, tasting and exchanging opinions about the various delectables that we had loaded onto the plates before us. "Master, do you want a bite?" asked Ephil with a morsel of pound cake on her fork, extending it towards me in the infamous, "on" pose. "Hold on, Ephil. What do you think you're doing? What's wrong? We do this back at the inn all the time, don't we? Now hold on a moment. Kelvin, you have Ephil-chan feed you all the time? Ange, did you really have to shout that so loudly? Now everybody's looking at us." And no, of course not. She only does this when she makes me taste her cooking. We feed each other all the time. That's only when we're alone in our room. Please notice all the whispering that's springing up around us. Why you two feed each other? Ange's shoulders quivered. I can't back down after hearing that. "Kelvin, here you go, on," she said, grabbing a cookie and thrusting it at my face. With her hand? Oh my, are they fighting over him? Isn't that Ange-san from the guild and the maid Ephil-chan? Oh shit, we're starting to gather an audience. Among them are even a few adventurers that I know personally. Unable to stand it any longer, I stood up abruptly, causing my chair to rattle. "You two, I have a great idea. How about we take all this to go so that we can enjoy it at our leisure?" I suggested. "Please notice the situation we're in, you two. He's taking them to go? Woo. Springs come for Ange." To my dismay, my plan only succeeded in adding fuel to the fire. Judging from some of the comments I heard, some of Ange's own acquaintances were in the crowd as well. Oh god, it's too late. "Here, master. How about this, Kelvin?" "Oh okay, I'll eat them both." Just as I bowed to the inevitable and was about to open my mouth to accept the sweets being offered to me. Here I was curious about what such a crowd was gathering for, and it turns out to be something so stupid. Our entire table, sweets and all, was sent flying. A loud crash rang out. Just in the nick of time, I managed to grab Ephil and Ange and leap out of the way. With the place as crowded as it was, my presence sensing had warned me only at the last possible moment. "What's the matter, good sirs?" I asked, keeping my words respectful while still exuding a menacing vibe. The intruders turned out to be a plump man in fancy clothing and three of his toadies. It was one such underling who had kicked over our table. "Listen up, peons. This is Prince Tabura of the illustrious country of Trison," shouted one of the thugs. Noticing the sour expressions on the faces of everyone nearby, I knew right then and there that this was going to be a major pain in the ass. As mentioned before, my new world was split into two large continents. One in the east, and one in the west. Parth was located roughly at the center of the eastern continent, with 4 surrounding countries sharing it as a border. In the past, there had been a period of several dozen years where all of the kingdoms had been in a state of total war, each one fiercely vying for control. At the end of the war, the remaining countries, their people thoroughly exhausted by it all, had signed a peace treaty and drawn up the national borders that remained in effect to this very day. As a visible symbol of their wish for eternal peace, Parth, the City of Peace, was built at the exact point where all 4 lands met. Up in the north was Gan. It was a country of the Beastkin, a race who possessed extraordinary physical capabilities. For generations, the king of Gan had always been selected, as was to be expected of a race famed for quick fists and hot blood, through a tournament, where the champion took the crown. No exception to this, the current king was a hulking male who had thoroughly thrashed his opponents in the battle royale that had won him the crown. Rumor had it that he possessed strength on par with rank S adventurers. Basically, Gone was a country where the maxim, strength is justice, was truly applied. Quite honestly, they were a people that I wanted no trouble with. To the west was the Holy Empire of Deramus. The head of the country was the Pope, with the cardinals, archbishops, and bishops in a hierarchy below him. They all worshipped Melfina, the goddess of reincarnation, who was known to speak through the oracle, a special priestess who was also responsible for preserving the knowledge of a unique summoning ritual from generation to generation. It was through this ritual that the current oracle had summoned the 4 new heroes. Another noteworthy point about Deramus was that the sole land connection that existed between the eastern and western continents, also known as Crux Bridge, was located within its territory. However, the relationship between Deramus and the empire that lay on the other side was extremely tense, and security on both sides of the bridge was always in a heightened state. Down south was Turai, the country of water. Bordered by Parth and the Sea of Dragons, where it was rumored the Water Dragon King dwelled, this country was famed for its shipbuilding techniques and agricultural advances. The royal family had supposedly descended from peasants, so many of their policies favored the common folk. The fact that Parth had plenty of food was thanks in large part to Turai. And, to my surprise and delight, I had learned that this kingdom even had a rice-like crop. Alright, I'm definitely going to need to pay it a visit someday. If I'm in luck, I might even get to meet the famed merpeople. Lastly, located in the east was the military kingdom of Tryson. This was the place that had poured the most resources into its armed forces after the signing of the peace treaty. It was a belligerent nation that shamelessly touted human supremacy. Several times, small skirmishes had broken out along the border between Gone and Tryson. They treated their slaves horribly, and there were rumors that many of those slaves were in fact regular citizens who had been kidnapped from other countries. The current king of Tryson had 5 sons, all of whom were associated with their own unpleasant rumors as well. Among the 4 countries, Tryson was undoubtedly the most untrustworthy one. Apparently, it was one of the aforementioned princes from that very untrustworthy country who was currently before me. You're a prince? Indeed. I am none other than the 3rd prince of Tryson, Prince Tabura, declared the chubby man as if hoping to cow everyone who was listening. And it distresses me greatly to see such indecent acts being displayed in public in broad daylight. I lament how shameless the common people have become. It is as you say, my prince. As one who stands above the common man, would it not be appropriate to teach them a lesson, suggested one of the lackeys, in what I could only assume was an attempt to instigate a fight. So these chumps around him are his guards? Let me see. Oh, those 2 women have rather fine features. Tabura looked Eiffel and Ange up and down in an extremely vulgar manner. I felt both women jerk slightly against my arms, either from getting goosebumps or as an instinctive reaction. Yeah, okay, this guy's just a regular piece of shit. Hold on, is that elf a slave? That makes things simple, then. You, manservant, if you hand me both women, I will overlook your crime of having made me waste my time. Come again? What the hell does this pudgy prince think he's spouting? It made so little sense that my brain actually froze for a moment there, man. Are you deaf? Tabura-sama, in his infinite grace and mercy, is offering to grant you forgiveness. Hand over those 2 women right now, barked one of the thugs as he approached us. "'Kay Kelvin, what should we do?" asked Ange in a fluster. As she was apparently about to be kidnapped, her reaction was understandable. In contrast, what I got from Eiffel through the follower network was simply, "Master, permission to eliminate?" You sure have gotten tough, Eiffel, but hold on. Our opponent is the prince of a country, so we can't carelessly lay hands on him. We need to remain calm and think of a way to resolve this situation in a peaceful manner. Hey, I'll make sure to take very good care of both of you, all right? I can't wait for tonight to come. I'll eliminate him myself, Ephil. Stand back. Understood, master. I let Ephil down and had her fall back behind me with Ange. Huh? What do you think you're doing, peasant? Asked the closest flunky in an annoyed tone. Not much, really. I was just thinking about how to beat you up is all. I flashed a glance at the adventurers in the crowd of spectators. What the fuck you talking about? Before the man could finish his sentence, I unleashed impact at him. It was so quick that the man had already been sent flying several meters and slammed into a wall before anyone could even register what had occurred. I couldn't care less what happened to the guy, but it was important that none of the spectators got caught up in this. Thankfully, it appeared that the other adventurers present had caught on to my intentions and were helping to protect the general public. What? Tabura and his buddies were at a complete loss for words, clearly never having imagined that I would stand up to them. These two remaining knuckleheads are what, rank D, it seems. So then, Prince, seeing as you've picked a fight with me, I can assume that you're prepared for the consequences, right? The weather is great today. The location is pretty much the perfect place for a date. In spite of my initial reluctance, I confess that, as a healthy young man in the prime of my years, I was looking forward to this quite a bit. Anyone would hate to be interrupted in the middle of such a nice outing, wouldn't they? To add insult to injury, this asshole even wants to lay hands on Ephil and Ange? Now I really can't let him walk away in one piece, can I? Why, you knave. Do you not know who you are so outrageously insulting? I am the third prince of Tryson. Oh, I know who you are, thanks to you repeating your name several times. And it was your people who, what did you call it, outrageously insulted us first, wasn't it? The only thing we are preparing for is to do some serious violence against you. I sighed. If all you can do is spout these second-rate villain lines, I recommend you move on and draw your weapon already. Tabura and his guards obliged, finally drawing their swords and preparing for combat. You guys have really been slacking off on the training. Count your regrets in the next world, peasant. Two of the bodyguards raised their swords and charged at me. I stepped past them easily, however, leaving their blades to slice through empty air. The looks on their faces made it clear they had no idea what had just happened. The prince's personal bodyguards are this low level? Really? I sighed again. I had done nothing more than evade them with superior agility, without using any spells or tricks. The guards had been unable to even follow me with their eyes. What? He's disappeared. Okay, you guys are way too slow. Hey, you meatheads, sure you don't need to be protecting this fatty over here? The guards turned to find me standing behind Tabura, who was unable to move thanks to the knife I had pressed against his neck. Why, you lot, don't do anything careless. You heard the man. Don't do anything careless, okay? Tabura seemed extremely flustered by what was likely his first time feeling so close to death. Let's try probing a bit before finishing him off. Well then, Prince, what business do you have in our lovely city of Parth? I asked, softly tapping the tip of my dagger against Tabura's neck and grinning villainously. The two guards in front of us could only look on helplessly. You don't need to know that, knave. Come now, withdraw that thing that you're holding. If you do so, I'll pretend this never happened. Shish. I'm the one asking questions here. Wordlessly, I cast air pressure at the two guards, pressing them down to the ground. Somehow, this spell had become my go-to move recently. At full strength, it was powerful enough to squash rank B monsters to jelly, but I couldn't very well do that right here in the middle of town. As intended, the guards fell to their knees. What is this? I can't stand. Jean. Alba. What's wrong? Judging from their reactions, I figured these guys had no idea that the air pressure spell even existed. I wasn't sure if that was an indication of their own ignorance or of the general underdevelopment of magic in Tryson. If you don't want me to use this on you next, Prince, I recommend you answer me honestly. You knave. Just so you know, I also possess a skill that allows me to tell if you're lying. And if you do lie, I'll flatten you. So keep that in mind and choose your answers carefully. Damn it. In truth, the idea that I could see through lies was simply a bluff. I didn't actually possess such a skill, but Tabura appeared to have fallen for it hook, line, and sinker. Through clenched teeth, he muttered a reply. I came to meet the local guildmaster, Rio. What for? I heard that a highly skilled adventurer recently showed up in Parth and has made it his base. I came here all the way from Tryson to personally evaluate this man. The quality of your guards seems a bit lacking for a prince on such a journey. Isn't Tryson supposed to be a military country? Ha! In Tryson, ability is everything. It is the talented who stand at the top. My standing back home is nothing. I might as well be dirt. So you wanted to take in a strong adventurer and rack up achievements through him? That's right. Yeah, okay, this guy's an idiot. His way of thinking is far too simplistic. Maybe this is why people back in his own country treat him with such disdain? I sighed yet again. I'm pretty sure that adventurer is me. There was nothing wrong with the idea of gathering talented subordinates, but it was hard to imagine anyone with actual talent being willing to sign up with this guy. Even considering the draw of being associated with a royal, those that someone like Tabura managed to gather would likely be of limited ability. Is that right? Then by all means, come work for me. Like hell, I snorted. At the same time as my retort, I increased the strength of air pressure. Tabura and his crew actually sank into the ground like you would see in a gag manga. I dare you to mess with us again. Next time, I will crush your heads, understand? I wasn't sure if any of them were actually still conscious, but I had to leave them one final warning regardless. Well then, that's the trash taken care of. The surrounding crowd had erupted into cheers the moment the fight, if you could even call that sadly lopsided encounter a fight, had ended. Eiffel and Ange dashed towards me. Thank you for taking care of it, Master. You were so cool, Kelvin. I'm sorry we were so rudely interrupted, but that stupid ape is gone now. Want to go pick out new plates? The two girls nodded with delight, and amid the friendly jabs and teasing of the other customers, the three of us resumed our date. Later that night, after the date, Eiffel and I were in our room at the inn. The two of us were in bed together, as we were still in a single-person room. I had asked Claire Sand for a bigger room many times, but she always refused me with seemingly random excuses. I had more or less given up at this point. The day I bought Eiffel from the slave merchant, we had ended up sharing the bed after all. Although it was meant for one person, it was spacious enough. There was just enough room for two people if they didn't mind sleeping a bit close together. At first, we were both extremely nervous, but it didn't take us long to adjust. By now, we slept snuggled together as a matter of course. I had gotten into bed and was starting to drift off when Eiffel suddenly broke the silence. Thank you for today, Master. Huh? Where'd that come from? Thank you for going along with my request and coming to the store with me, and also for protecting us. Oh, that's what she meant. You help me out all the time too, don't you? If there's ever anything I can do for you, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Over the past month, Eiffel had grown by leaps and bounds, both as an adventurer and as a maid. However, although she hid it while we were out in public, she still had a more childish side that matched her age. When we were alone together, she often wanted to be pampered. When that prince looked at me, I couldn't move for a split second. It seems I still need to get much stronger. I reached out to hold Ephial's hand, using my other hand to stroke her head at the same time. She really liked having her head stroked, but it was the hand-holding that made her practically melt with bliss. Since you're the type of person who would worry about it even more if I told you not to, let's just say we'll get stronger together. Ephil, I need you. Ephil started tearing up. I'll follow you for the rest of my life. Oh dear, it seems I've made her cry again. This takes me right back to the day I dispelled her curse. I guess I'll just lend her my chest until she calms down. After Ephial's sobbing had subsided, what with the date, the unwelcome interruption, and everything that had happened that day, the two of us were tired and agreed to blow out the candle and go straight to sleep. Our hands were still clasped together, so I could feel her warmth against my skin. It made me feel reassured somehow. I hoped that she felt the same way. Recalling the stunning figure of Ephil in a summer dress, I felt myself slowly drifting off into pleasant dreams. Master, are you still awake? Ephial's voice jerked me back to consciousness. My eyelids fluttered open and I saw her beautiful emerald green eyes staring back at me. What's the matter? Can't sleep? No, that's not. Am I not attractive as a woman? Come again? I was dumbfounded. What is she saying? Has she never looked into a mirror before? However, Ephial's expression was entirely serious, shadowed by what looked like a trace of sadness. It has already been some time since you bought me. Due to your good will, we sleep together in the same bed every night. And yet, abruptly, Ephial's face turned bright red so quickly that if this were a manga, a small mushroom cloud would have erupted from the top of her head. Worried about her, I sat up. When are you going to take me? Huh? Caught entirely by surprise, I ended up shouting out loud. Hold on, no really, hold on just a damn minute. Why is Ephil suddenly saying this? Cool and classy gentleman that I am, there's a limit to how much even my mind can take. That's what I was taught by the slave merchant, nobody ever told me specifically what it entails, but night duty. Stop. Stop right there, Ephil. Don't finish that sentence. You piece of shit slave merchants, what the hell were you telling this pure and innocent girl? Realistically, it made sense for the topic to be brought up in that sort of place, but the conversation was happening so fast that I was in a state of complete panic. Ephil, don't look at me with upturned eyes. Stop blushing. Don't pair it with that worried expression. That's right, nerves of steel. I've gotta increase my skill level. Right now. I'm very sorry, Master. The real reason behind today's invitation was because I wanted to draw Master's eye. I asked Claire San to help me choose an outfit and I tried my best, but I guess I'm just not good en. What are you saying? Of course that's not true. You get so much cuter every single day, I'm working so hard to control myself each night. Oh God, what am I saying? In any case, you're the most attractive woman I've ever known. Master. Once again, tears erupted from Ephial's eyes as if a dam had been broken. Gosh, this girl is crying a lot today. But good on me for managing to say it. What am I supposed to do now, though? In the first place, do I even have that kind of experience? Melfina Sensei. Oh right, she's not here right now. Seize. I'll have the strawberry-flavored one please. Wait, she's still in the network? But she's asleep. Sensei. This is no time to be having weird dreams. Damn it, and I disconnected Gerard like I always do when I have alone time with Ephil. So I really have no one to rely on? Screw this, what will happen will happen. So yeah, there's no need to put yourself down unnecessarily, Ephil. I just didn't want to force you into anything simply because you're my slave. I'm sure you don't want to do something like that with a guy you don't even lee. I love you, master, interrupted Ephil, wiping her tears. As my master, as my companion, and as a man, I love you. I love you very much. You never once gave me a dirty look for being afflicted with the curse, instead going to great lengths to teach me the warmth of companionship. For you, master, I felt her grip my hand a bit harder. Are you sure about this? I probably won't be able to hold back. Yes, I'm sure. For someone to love me so much that he loses himself for a while, it would reassure me. Truly. Would you do that for me please? The next morning. For the first time since I brought Ephil home, she and I both ended up sleeping in,